Welcome to ANP podcast today with the theme of Powering Timor Leste, Connecting to ASEAN Energy Future. I'm your host for today's podcast. My name is Agus Gilman. And this podcast is for how Timor Leste is strengthening its energy future through regional cooperation under ASEAN and through work with our ASEAN Center for Energy, one institution creating under ASEAN Energy Cooperation Agreement. In this episode, we focus on key questions on how can ACE help Timor-Leste build a more secure, sustainable, inclusive energy system while connecting to ASEAN long-term energy vision. We talk about ASEAN's plan of action for energy cooperation as policy guidance for ASEAN future energy. Energy is not about power plants or grids, but it's affect job, health, education, industry, and cost of living. For Timor-Leste, improving energy access and reliability is directly linked to national development, especially in rural areas and emerging economic sector. At the same time, ASEAN is moving forward with regional energy cooperation through shared framework and programs. With me today, we have our colleagues, our distinguished guests from ASEAN Center for Energy, where ASEAN Center for Energy play a central role in supporting ASEAN member states through research, policy coordinations, capacity building, and regional initiatives. Today's conversation is about connecting those dots, Timor-Leste priorities on one side and ASEAN energy cooperation mechanism in other side. To help us explore these today's themes, here with me, joining by our colleagues from ASEAN Center for Energy, Mr. Beni Suryadi, Senior Manager for ASEAN Plan of Action on Energy Cooperation, or APAEC, from ASEAN Center for Energy. Welcome and thank you for joining us in ANP podcast, Mr. Beni.
Thank you, Agus. Thank you very much for having me in this podcast.
Okay. Let's start with the very simple questions for our listeners, our fellow stakeholders on energy in Timor-Leste. Please tell us what is ASEAN Center for Energy and what's the rules that it plays under ASEAN Energy Cooperation itself.
So, thank you again, Agus. I'm coming from the ASEAN Center for Energy. The ASEAN Center for Energy is part of the ASEAN framework. It's an intergovernmental organization that represents the interests of the all ASEAN member states on the energy cooperation. By ASEAN member state, it means now we have, including Timor-Leste session last October in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. As part of our responsibility, as part of our role in the ASEAN structures, the ASEAN Center for Energy support the 11 ministry from the 11 ASEAN member states on working on the energy cooperation, driving the cooperation at regional levels to achieve our common goals. We have 4 common goals that are achieving the energy security, providing affordable energy, providing accessibility, and also sustainability for all. So ACE, the ASEAN Center for Energy, under the guidance from all of the 11 ASEAN member states, supporting this region to driving the energy transition, be it as a role for us as a catalyst in engaging and advancing the energy cooperation in the region, or as a knowledge hub, because we are holding repository of all of the energy data, energy information from all of the ASEAN member states, and also at the think tanks. where we have a number of researchers, a number of energy experts that conducting various studies that providing recommendation for the policymakers, for the energy stakeholders on what are the things that they should look on, be it at regional level or national levels. So that's where we're coming from, the ACE.
Thank you. I think to add on these questions with this question, I understand that is as age is not only it's like technical resources as well as the connector for energy policy across the region. So can you tell us a bit on the regarding the technical resources as well as how ACE act as a connector, regional connector between IMS itself?
Right. So let me start by the second point first on the regional connector. It's going to be like, so we act as the secretariat. The secretariat means that we are the one who holds, coordinate, and facilitate all kind of the communication and coordination among the ASEAN member states on energy sectors. When we say it's coordination, that we are talking about having focal point from the every single ASEAN member states. So we managing more than 7 groups of the stakeholders in the regions. For example, that people is working on the electricity. We do have a representative from the policymakers, from the regulator, from the ministry on in charge on the electricity from every country. So ACE act as the hubs that are how to engage and communicate and coordinate between representative from Indonesia, with Timor Leste, with Malaysia, with Thailand, and all of them, 11 of them. So that's facilitate the discussion, facilitates the communication, so that we could initiate and establish the collaboration and cooperation among this. In addition to that, as I mentioned earlier, that we play a role as think tanks. So it also could be translated that, as Agus mentioned, that we are a technical arm of the ministry, the technical arm of the regulatory bodies, technical arm of the energy stakeholders at the regional levels. Yep. So we have a number of the energy researchers, the energy modeler, the energy economists, or energy environmentalists that conduct various studies, various insight that looking to what's happened in every countries in these regions, and then see it from the regional perspective, but then also looking what's happened at global levels. So with all of this thing that we translated into technical products, we translated into a policy insight that can be used as reference, as the guidance, as the insights for policymakers in looking at the issue and regional context, the global context, but also most importantly that at the national levels.
Thank you, Mr. Penny. So we understand that ASEAN Energy Cooperation is like is a fundamental agreement that all member states have acceded into, including Timor Leste. We have acceded, I think, in the November 2025. By acceding to this agreement, we understand also that there are certain obligations under the agreement, and also some program areas. So, like my introduction previously on the ASEAN Plan of Action for energy cooperation, can you tell us what are the program areas or the fundamental regional cooperations that produced under ASEAN cooperation, especially on the ASEAN Plan of Action for energy cooperation, for our listeners to see, to hear, to understand that there are program areas that ASEAN member state would like to achieve throughout this ASEAN cooperation on energy itself.
Yes. So on the very top of the ASEAN, that we have what we call it ASEAN Economic Community Blueprints. It's looking on the issue of the socio, cultures, and politics, as well as an economics. So the energy issue is fall under the ASEAN Economic Community. And as I just mentioned, that on this energy issue, that last year the ASEAN adopt the new blueprints, the new regional blueprint on energy, what we call it the ASEAN Plan of Action for Energy Cooperation. This new blueprints cover the plan for 5 years, from the 2026 to 2030s. It's serve as the common goals of all 11 ASEAN member states on what they want to achieve for the next 20 years, 2045, but it's also set a foundation on the clear action that what ASEAN's to achieve for the next 5 years, from now until 2030. All of the 11 member states, everyone has a different situation, different economics level, different resource. Some is blessed with a lot of hydro, some blessed with a lot of solar, some country blessed with oil and gas, etc. Right? So each of them has a different kind of resource, different kind of the policy priorities. But all of them having a common goal, which want to achieve the energy, enhance the energy security, while at the same time is also making sure that we do it in a way on the just and inclusive energy transition. This translated into the program area under the APEC. We call it program area. Everyone may also see it as sectors or focus area. We have 7 program area under the APEC. Why 7? Why so many? Because I said earlier that we are very much diverse. So it addressed all of the issue on energy. Number 1, we have program area on ASEAN power grids. It's focusing on efforts to connecting the electricity between one country to other countries. It's an idea to integrate it. So it's where the hydropower in Laos can generate electricity, but then the electron transferred to Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore. It could be also a play in the context of Timor Leste, when we also could be possible having interconnection with the neighboring countries. Second is what we call it oil and gas security and sustainability. So this is where the ASEAN's looking to address our common challenge on the oil and gas. As we all know, that it's going to be oil and gas is still a major part of our energy mix. It's needed for our economic development. But we also want to make sure that the supply is secure for us to fuel the economics. But it also at the same time it addressed in the sustainability way. So this is the second program area that we have. The third is coal, clean coal transformation. A number of countries in this region is also still very much rely on the coal power plant. This program area that addressed that how we could sustain the operation of the coal power plant, but it's also at the same time it's going to be noting the concerns on the environmental economics and emission that generated that how we will be also able to move away from this goal. Number 4 is energy efficiency and conservation. This is also a very critical element that how we will able to use the energy, the same amount of energy, but then expect it to be more effective and generate more economic growth on that one. So this is a program area number 4 on the energy efficiency. Then we also have a program area on renewable energy, particularly on renewable energy, that how we could optimize the use of the renewable energy in ASEAN countries, not only on the national levels, right? So it's not only for Timor Leste that they use it for your own, but it's also how to optimize this renewable energy for the benefit of the whole region. I mentioned earlier that the hydropowers in Laos can be harnessed to generate the electricities, but can be used for the peoples in the Singapore. Number 6, we have a program area on regional energy policy and plannings. This is where the program area see the integration of all of the topics. Renewable energy, of course, important. Energy efficiency is also important. Oil and gas, coal, everything is important. But what is also important that how to look it as the integrator. That will be. So how we look a synergy on using renewable energy, but also at the same times enhance the energy efficiency. So this program area is looking at integration, regional policy, and planning. Last but not least, a number of countries in this region are looking to consider nuclear as the option for them to fuel their energy mix in the futures. So ASEAN itself also under the APEC has a program area specifically addressing the issue of the civilian nuclear energy, where we support the member states to build the capability, the capacity of the policymakers, so engineer, the technician, regulatory body on the nuclear landscape.
So thank you for sharing with us the APAI program areas. We have like 7 program area in this APAI. We also in this podcast would like to understand your insight of your view towards Timor Leste energy development. I believe we have some meetings in previous 2 days. So from that meeting, after the presentation from Timor Leste on the profiles, how do you see Timor Leste at this stage? And from the steps that Timor Leste would like to do, or especially on integration to ASEAN, and what is your views on this and how it affects the potential collaboration to achieve the APAI program area itself, Mr. Ben?
Okay. Thank you very much again, Pak Us. That's gonna be it's gonna be like since the session of the Timor Leste last year that this year we have made official visits to Timor Leste. This February that our teams visited Timor Leste twice. Early this month, and that the team from the statistics units, the team from the outlook units came and had a discussion with colleagues from the Timor Leste. And then in the last couple of days, that's whole team from the ASEAN Center for Energy also coming to Timor Leste and have a extensive discussion with various energy stakeholders in Timor Leste. There are 2 missions that we are carrying. That's going to be first is part of the development of the 9th ASEAN Energy Outlook. The ASEAN Energy Outlook is our flagship report, which is also the priority of the ASEAN chairship this year. So this report will be presented and launched at the 44th of the ASEAN Minister on Energy meeting September this year, to be hosted and chaired by Department of Energy of the Philippines. The ASEAN Energy Outlook is an official document that providing the information about the full landscapes of the current energy situation in all of the 11 ASEAN member states. So this is very first time that we will have 11s. So it's very exciting to see that how the models are developed. But this outlook and provide a detailed landscape on energy mix, energy supply, energy demand, energy production in the countries, including in Timor Leste, where our team work, the modelers, statistician, and the energy expert as well from the Timor Leste. That will be then that will be integrated to develop projection of the energy landscape in the region for the next 20, 30 years. We're running a number of scenarios, so we'll be able to see that if ASEAN's go this pathway, that how the futures of regional landscapes really looks like. If ASEAN's go this pathway, that how to the future of energy landscape looks like. A number of scenarios that we are running when we are looking this to each of individual countries. So it address this contact with Timor Leste. It address that how the landscape, the future, the outlook of the energy in Timor Leste, the production in the future, the demand, how it will be grow. But it's also it will looks from a regional perspective. So we'll have the integration of all of these 11 member states and looking it into the regional models. This is a very important element because under the regional aspiration, we want to achieve a number of targets. For example, that for renewable energy, we want to achieve that 30% of renewable energy in the energy mix by 2030s. Or specifically on the power sector, we want to have 45% of renewable energy in the installed capacity. And then this report will be able to also identify that how much Timor Leste will grow, and then how much the contribution, the possible interconnection between the countries, including Timor Leste and these neighboring countries in ASEAN. So it will also provide that insights for the policymakers that hey, this is the futures might be projecting that. So for that the policymakers, regional levels and particularly in the national context will have a picture, right? To be that this is ASEAN looks like in 2050. 2060, with all of the technologies coming, with all of the commitment that we have at national level or regional level or global levels, this is how the ASEAN looks like. So it will be a basis. It will be one of reference. I mean, not the only one, but one of reference for the policymakers to understand what they think that they should prepare. So this is where it will be benefiting Timor Leste better as now the Timor Leste is part of the ASEAN. So through this outlook, that Timor Leste will have a full picture that how the ASEAN landscapes looks like, and then where Timor Leste on that picture, and then what kind of the benefit, what kind of the contribution that Timor Leste will be able to accomplish from that.
Thank you, Mr. Benny, for sharing these events that we have, as well as the forward-looking, the objective of the event itself. We also see that there are in this today's workshop as well. ACE has shared with us the roles, responsibilities, and how ACE will assist Timor Leste in developing its energy, and especially on how to integrate into ASEAN energy corporations and ASEAN energy future. So can you also tell with us like more details, especially on the way that you, from this meeting, from the consultation with the stakeholders, what are the potential supports that ACE can give to Timor Leste to help us in terms of meeting our especially our desire, our ambitions for cooperating into ASEAN energy as regional, as well as how it can help us in terms of looking more opportunity for more energy efficiencies, more renewable energy, and more using of the sources like the resources that we have, like solar, etc., that we have today. What is the technical or other support that can also provide to us as Timor Leste itself on our energy sector?
Right. Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, that main responsibility for ACE, main mandate to ACE is to advance the energy cooperation at regional levels. This translated also into the integration of the energy system for all of the 11 ASEAN member states, which we including the Timor Leste. In order to have this integration, as the newest member of the ASEAN, it's gonna be it's gonna be we are playing a role to support that how the integration of the Timor Leste to the ASEAN energy system could be advanced. And this is, for the discussion that we have from the two meetings, two visits that we conducted, but in a continuous discussion that we're going to have, that where we have a more and more understandings about the energy landscape in Timor Leste, more and more knowledge about the numbers, about the insight, and about the needs, but it's also about the strengths that Timor Leste has have. So part of it is committing to support Timor Leste on this integration process, on the energy system. A number of the FNU that we will like to utilize. We will, starting to from the having a full understandings what is the needs, that how is define the needs at the national levels or the subnational level or the context of regional levels. And then as the energy cooperation is quite sometimes already, so there's a lot of studies, a lot of report that being conducted, and then we have the other stands ASEAN member state with already in some states of development of the energy system. So this where we will see that going to be what are, for example, what are the standards that will be already applied in the other countries that can be used as a benchmark to the Timor Leste. What kind of the knowledge and technology that already apply in the other countries that can be also applicable in the context of the Timor Leste. So this is one of the role that ACE is playing on that one. But then it's also it's opening that door that's going to be like based on the needs, like can be that of course not everything that applicable in other countries can also applicable in the context of Timor Leste. So this is where together with our in-house researchers that will be collaborating with the expert from the Timor Leste, that how we could develop a tailor-made solution to help the Timor Leste. So we are bringing the expertise, but of course we are engaging the knowledge, the experience of the Timor Leste stakeholders itself.
So before closing, I think thank you for sharing. We have our guests have shared with us. First on the ACE itself, we understand how these bodies are helping or assisting all the member states in developing their regional integration policies as well as domestic reference made to domestic policy. Second on the ASEAN program area, on APAEC, where we have 7 program area priorities that ASEAN see as the future as energy policies that they have to achieve or goals they have to achieve. And the last one is how you would like to share with us the visit from AA's objectives and how the outcome of the visit might be helping Timor Leste, especially on building its domestic policies as well as policy for regional integration. The last one you have shared with us on the support that ACE can provide to Timor Leste for both on domestic and the regional level. So before we close, I have like a very quick questions for you based on our discussions on these meetings and the understanding from technical works that have been done. What is the priority that Timor Leste should do in terms of not changing, but maybe enhancing more its energies policy in Timor, especially on because we are, our data we are using diesel-based power plant, and we might have some priorities that need to do because diesel are expensive. So, what is the priorities that might be helping us in terms of a more solution for short term that government might think of in relation to our energy productions, consumption, securities, and affordability itself from your perspective, Mr. Ben.
Right. Yeah. Having learned Timor Leste gonna be it's a very short time, so I cannot say that I'm suddenly become an expert on on the
Yeah,
Timor Leste
yeah.
gonna be that, but I do learn that Timor Leste already have a solid foundation in building its integrated energy policy and planning. Right. You have already a solid foundation, but now it's how to scaling up, how to escalate this effort. It's going to be like energy is very dynamic, and there's a lot of pressure on the, from the economics perspective, that how the energy will be able to build. It's going to be so. This is where I think it's will be very important. It's going to be that solution that could be quickly addressed. So it also means needs to enhance the capacity of the peoples who are dealing with the energy issue. That's not only looking at energy as a single perspective, but in a whole economics perspective. That's because energy no more is about energy; it's an environmental concern and economics concern. That can be. So I think this is where one point that I would suggest that would be that building up, scaling up the knowledge and capacity of the people working on the energies. To having a wider perspective on that. And then ACE is very, very happy to support Timor Leste in this effort.
So thank you very much, Mr. Benny, for sharing us this today's sessions. Thank you for joining us for the topics. I believe the themes is very important to see Timor's perspective today and how we can tap into the ASEAN. We also understand from your expression that ASEAN has moved, like they are moving from 2015 from FESA PAEC, like 10 years ago, and now we are at the third version of our PAEC. So Timor Leste is needs to build more capacities and integrating, looking energy as a broader objectives, and then collaborate. And ACE is there to support us. Thank you very much, and thank you for your time. Thank you for your team who flew from the headquarters of ACE in Jakarta to Dili for this 2 days workshop with us on understanding our energy landscape in Timor and what can we do. And we hope we can have future discussions more and technical capacities and realization of our programs, especially with ACE and how Timor-Leste can develop its energy itself. So again, thank you, Mr. Benny, for your time, for sharing with us today. If you have last words to say to our audience, our stakeholders on energy, please do so.
Terima kasih Pak Agus. Terima kasih sudah welcoming me in this podcast dan berbagi cerita tentang energi di Asia Tenggara. Again, ini pengalaman pertama datang ke Timor Leste, but then in my personal experience that working on the energy cooperation for more than 16 years and then visiting all of the ASEAN countries. Again, that's I'd like to say that Timor Leste is a very strong foundation to advance your efforts on the energy cooperation. So it's very exciting features that how Timor Leste akan play a significant role in energy cooperation in ASEAN. So we are not only talking about connecting the new dot to the ASEAN, but then I see sangat besar potensi Timor Leste to contribute to even driving the energy cooperation in ASEAN. So I look forward for that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Benny. For our listener, thank you for joining us in today's session episode on the Powering Timor-Leste, Connecting to ASEAN Energy Future. If you found this conversation helpful, please share with your colleagues, friends, and we will develop more topics and themes on energy for our future development, especially on how Timor-Leste will develop itself to integrate itself into ASEAN energy corporations for better future of Timor-Leste and the region. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you in the next episode.